Who is it? Vinny!
Hey, dude, are you there?
Hey, what's
Yeah,
up,
I'm
my
here,
brother?
man.
How are you,
Dude,
man?
I don't have a scary story, man. I was like, I'm gonna have pretty much a heart attack. I'm like having a heart attack, but I can't scream or anything. Basically, laying on the floor, panicking.
Oh!
No, you weren't. You weren't.
Oh!
You built the place. I haven't seen the Hopi in thousands of years. Don't make fun of my people. Period.
Sorry,
I'll pull
Brandon.
up your ass and cut you up into little bitty bits.
Facebook page down because people said Richie from Boston's gay. He's gay. I'm gay. I'm a gay man.
And I mean, yeah, I mean, you can prosecute me for that if you like.
No, it's not why I'm doing that. I'm just saying there's a lot
But
of...
that is what you did. And I mean, yeah, I mean, you can prosecute me for that if you like.
No, it's not why I'm doing that. I'm just saying there's a lot
But
of...
that is what you did.
Websites, including
And I
one
mean,
in
yeah,
British
I mean,
Columbia,
you can
Canada. So all of a sudden, this kind of triggered Brian Vike.
Welcome back to Third Phase of the Moon. Blake Cousins here. We've got a special report for you. We've got a few UFO videos that we want to share with you.
Welcome back, everybody. Blake Cousins, along with Orlando Smith and Brent Cousins, we're going to be going over incredible imagery.
Third phase of the moon. Third phase of the moon.
Ten, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
You were either in or you were either out, brother.
But the cream will rise to the top. Oh yeah.
All right. Welcome to Goof On, everybody. A little sneak peek at me in the middle of the intro. Not a very good thing to happen. It is October 26th, 2021. It still is right? It's 2021. But it is Tuesday. You say it. It's the day that has no feel. Yeah, I'm not really feeling this hat, to be honest with you. I'm not really feeling this one. But you're doing it. You're here. And tomorrow is hump day, you know. Everybody likes to say it. So there you go. And that'll happen tomorrow. Hey, don't forget. There, that looks much better. I got to change the background. But there will be a daylight savings time. Does that affect us? I think I have to go backwards an hour. So what it means is instead of me starting at 9, I start at 8. Right? Right? Or do I still come on at 9? Oh, that's right. Then it's 7 o'clock for the people on the West Coast. Because I'm going to bump it up. Even though the clocks go back, I have to go up 1. So I lose an hour. Right? I have to go on at 9. That'll be 7 Pacific. What day is that? Daylight savings. When is that this year? Here we go. November 7th. Holy mackerel. It's only a couple of weeks away. 13 days? 12 days? Yep. At 2 a.m. on Sunday, November 7th. So it's only 2 hours into the day on Sunday. So Saturday night into, the early morning hours of Sunday, November 7th. Those of you who must adjust, please do to catch the show. It's still going to be 9 Eastern, but it'll be 7 Pacific. Hey, what do you want from me? I don't make these rules. I think they should get it over with, end it. There's no reason to have it. Tonight we're going to talk about, right? Am I right? All right, I thought I was. I knew I was. I felt I was. I want to welcome everybody to tonight's show. Tonight, out of place in time and space. You don't capiche? Do you know what that means? We've talked about it before. I don't know if I'm going to keep this one anymore. Let me get rid of this. Making space. I don't know. I'm going to put tonight's thumbnail on the background. Although I like the disclosure one a lot. I really do. Look at... I don't know what's going on. Lately, the computer seems to be slower. Like, this thing used to fly. Now sometimes it has to think for a minute. I don't know if that's the internet. But anyway. What does that mean? Out of place in time and space. Out of place in time and space. And also, artifacts not invented yet. We'll go back. I want to talk about that bird. What was that bird called? That History Channel or some show, I think it was UFO Hunters, did a model of the bird. You know that little giblet thing that they had? The artifact? And it looked like a bird. Right? But it had a rudder on it. Birds don't have rudders, kids. Anyway, we'll talk about Nostradamus' inventions. He talked about a bunch of stuff. Nothing new tonight. But we will get into what's going on in the day towards the last 45 minutes of the show or whatever. We'll be talking about today's events. What happened today? I know what happened the other day last week. I didn't like it. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. The Chinese blasting off that rocket. I thought people were joking about that. It went around the world in about an hour. Oh, no, what did I say? November 7th ends daylight savings time. Okay. It ends, it begins. Either way, change your clocks. All right? All right. Roll call. Real quick one, though. Alien Girl, Uno, welcome to the show. Easy E021, welcome to the show. Tim Frick, welcome to the show. John P. Adventures, welcome to the show. Ooh. Sir Wolf 67, hey, come on, it jumped on me. Welcome to the show. Denbub, hello Denbub, welcome to the show. Unidentified S4, welcome to the show. Pyramid 7, welcome to the show. Frapsap, welcome to the show. Yoga with Denise, long time no see, welcome to the show. Off-World Adam, welcome to the show. Paul Fahey, welcome to the show. Dorothy Hawkins, welcome to the show. Lord Ludicrous Plaid, welcome to the show. IR Film, welcome to the show. Walt Corbin, welcome to the show. Mikey Gematria, welcome to the show. Randall Hill, welcome to the show. Mike Johnson, show welcomes you. Unidentified S4, welcome to the show. Claudia with a Chance UFOs, welcome to the show. Let's go to the front door and see who's still coming in. Stu Gerson, welcome to the show. South Point 1360, there he is, welcome to the show. Shadi Panorin, welcome to the show. Lee Guy, welcome to the show. That's it. Mikey Gematria, Swerve and Collide, Bolchus, welcome to the show. That's it. No more. Can't keep doing these. All right, Coral Ann, welcome to the show. Gotta say hi to Coral Ann. Cannot not say hi. See, this I don't understand. Why is my name showing? I would never have I noticed that, and I didn't do it last night, too. Take that off there. I think people understand who I am. Oh, where am I? It's Goofon. Where? Moofon? Jan Harzan here? No, where have you been? In a coma for 19 years. Did you hear about that guy who was in a coma for 19 years? Turns out he wasn't in a coma for 19 years. It was 4 years. And he was still conscious and can hear his wife talking and reading to him. But There were stories going around. People in mainstream media, it started out as, 6 years, 8 years, 11 years, 19 years. The story just kept getting bigger, like the game Telephone. It kept changing as the story kept getting written over and over again. And the next thing you know, the guy's got to explain himself to the world. Look, I'm not on Benny 19. Poor guy, man. But 4 years in a coma and he woke up out of it. That's a trip. We should have him on. I think he's dead now, though. Yeah, I think he's dead. As in not existing. I always thought when you die, your organs stop and all that, but the brain keeps going for 4 minutes. And I find a video today and it said your brain keeps going for 10 minutes. Now it's 10. Look, I promise you, am I wrong? Is this a, what do they call that? Mandela effect? It's a Mandela effect, right? Come on, South Point, I go into a coma every night. Me too, man. No, I don't really. I wish I did. I used to when I was a kid. Right? 4 minutes. Alien girl. But forget the coma. Forget it. You're dead. You suffocated. You fell in a pool. You hit your head. You're unconscious. You're dead. They try to revive you. Nothing. Your brain had no oxygen for 4 minutes. Apparently, that's when the brain, beep, cuts out for good. But today? No, my eyes are both blue. One blue this way, one blue that way. I goes right in the accident. No, they're blue eyes, man. I think it's the lighting. Because I got lights. If I had one over here, this eye would be brighter, I bet. But I don't. No, they're blue. That good enough? It's 4 minutes. Giggity, giggity. It's 4 minutes. Did you see how many people we're never going to be? This is the week they turn it off. Shh. I might have to take tomorrow off doing the show. I might have to. I think I need an extra day off. I've got to do some things, man, but I don't know. I'll think about it. Maybe I'll go earlier. I don't know. Maybe I'll do an afternoon show tomorrow instead. Ooh. You know what I'm thinking of doing? And I know this sucks for some of you, but you don't really care about this show. I may do a show during the day, Wednesday for the UK maybe. I'm going to think about that one. Wednesday for the UK and Saturday. It has to have a day at the end. You guys are the best. All right. Anybody have any nightmares? Ah! Still very angry about that.
Do you have to?
Holy Jesus! Is that an attack? What was that?
Make me feel like...
Get down! Oh, shit. She's gone. Oh, my God. That could kill you. Yeah, somebody got a picture of her. Yep. Man. What is her name? Balchinian. Mimi? Demi? Man, that was pretty scary when I heard that. I thought Seagal was coming after me. No, seriously. I mean, it was pure fear I felt for a second. Just a little bit. It's definitely like Seagal, I'll tell you that. Definitely is. And you know what? Seagal can do what he wants. If he's going to keep looking for me, let him. I don't care. Whatever. Come kill me.
Anybody seen Richie? Huh?
Shut up.
I'm gonna keep coming back until somebody remembers seeing Richie.
Son of a bitch. I got them both after me. Oh. Somebody got a picture of him. Yep. It's a man right there. That's a stud. Let's start off tonight's show with something a little different. Because I'm trying to come up with ideas for the show. You know? But in this world that we're living in, this ufological world that we call it, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to go back to disclosure. I see a lot of, I'm still trying to figure it out with Lou, okay? I'm still trying to figure it out. Because I kind of almost feel like, I don't even know if I want to talk about it. Hey, Andy Gambino, what is that, a 5-pound average? That bird you mentioned is called a Sakara bird. Yep, that's right. You vote for UK in the Wednesday show. Maybe just this week, see how it goes. One of the things I was thinking was just doing the show at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. I was thinking about moving it. The whole thing. You know why? Yeah, but some of you aren't off work, and I know you've been around for a while and you like coming to the live show, so I don't really like taking that away, but I'm thinking about moving next year, not now, but it would be next year. I'm thinking about it. Maybe 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, something, because I need those night hours. I need them to work, and this schedule, that's why I like doing it at 8 o'clock. Remember when I was at 8 and I liked it for a while? Anyway, Andy, thank you very much. A 5-pounder right there in the kisser. You got it. Mucho gusto, generoso. I was listening to last night's show. I didn't like it. Yeah, it's something about it. Just didn't like it. And I think I'm getting the same I don't like what I'm hearing tonight as well. I don't think I like it. I think this show needs a whole revamping. I don't know. I don't know. Nobody else ever talks about this stuff, right? You go to their show and they're talking to you about UFOs or interviewing somebody. I get it. But being a one-man band, I need some help. I don't like asking, but I'm just going to leave it alone for now. Don't worry about it. Tom DeLonge was in Esquire magazine. Did you see this article about him? Let me pull this up real quick. Because, as time goes on and as Tom DeLonge gets older, he's going to get a little bit more mature. He's got to. It doesn't always work. I mean, come on. But I don't hate Angels and Airwaves. I don't. I hate Blink-182's music. But I like Angels and Airwaves. And get this, when I first heard them, I didn't know Tom DeLonge was in the band. I just heard it on Sirius Satellite. I remember it. And I didn't know who it was, and I kept hearing the song. So one time I looked at the actual display and saw it was Angels and Airwaves, and I looked it up. And I'm like, wow. I have a mobile one. So when songs come on, my Sirius Satellite, which is free. I don't pay for it. It was a store demo. Yeah. I won it somehow. My name was in a drawing and I won it. And I had a lifetime free subscription. But anyway, I have the mobile device. It was in my pocket. Didn't know it. And the actual headset is the antenna. So I didn't know. That's why I didn't know what band it was. But then I read this article today, which came out September 10th, by Dave Holmes from Esquire magazine. And it's called The Vindication of Tom DeLonge. And it's a pretty good story. And I enjoyed it. I don't dislike Tom DeLonge more. I actually dislike him a little less. Not much. I just don't like... There's a certain type of personality that he has that I just don't appreciate. But he is a freaking genius when it comes to making music. The guy's pretty good. Not Blink-182. But I understand it. I know people like Blink-182. So it's just not for me. Okay? But I understand it. Angels and Airwaves, it hits me a little more personally. The song, the words are incredible. They have to do with the afterlife and ghosts and aliens and who am I and what am I and where do I come from. So Angels and Airwaves, although Tom DeLonge is the singer, isn't bad. I actually don't think it's bad at all. I wish I could play the songs they have here in the article because they're actually good. I don't like every song they do. They have a repetitive sound, you know. It's ingrained in their music. You know, they have their certain way of making music but I can't watch Tom DeLonge sing it. It ruins it for me. I can't. I try to. I know. I don't know if I'm immature or what. Well, it says here, Tom DeLonge has a lot to say about life, about music, and because he is, to my knowledge, the only rock star to have co-founded a company devoted to the scientific research of unexplained aerial phenomena about UFOs. When you study UFOs, you're looking at consciousness, he tells me over Zoom from the patio of an Encinitas bar on a gloomy late summer morning. He is not drinking. You're looking at the history of mankind, like archaeology or archaeological evidence or ancient texts, religious texts. You're looking at national security. You're looking at physics, unified field theory. You're looking at kind of the forefront of quantum mechanics and how the universe seems to be built. And what you start to realize is that the evidence of those phenomena is not all what people think it is. Tom DeLonge said. We have arrived here about 5 minutes into our conversation before I've even had the opportunity to ask probing questions like, what can you tell me about the new Angels and Airwaves album? Or how are you? Hey, dive right in, he says, laughing. I don't have time for like the effing appetizer. I'm like, let's get dessert. It's a big dessert. 2 heady hours of talking about consciousness, interdimensional travel, prayer, Bigfoot, the physical power of love, children bending spoons with the power of their concentration, demonic theory, the unified mind, the nonlinear nature of time, the CIA's psychic spying program, and at least 3 near misses where I almost get him to tell me something that is classified by the U.S. government, but somehow in the middle of the conversation that pulverizes the definition of the word wide-ranging, Tom DeLonge says, I mean, Angels and Airwaves isn't going to change the world as a band or whatever, and it is the single thing I hear that I do not believe. This guy, the guy who went from naked on MTV to cited as a source by the Department of Defense within 20 years is not ambitious enough to think his music can change the world? Now that's preposterous. So then they go on and talk about Tom DeLonge in Blink-182 and their peak to success, and then they came out with the Angels and Airwaves 6th album and September 24th this year. He broke up with Blink, and then he was confirmed as legitimate by the Pentagon. 16 years ago, it was easy to scoff at the guy who left his band behind for aliens, who traded the radio-friendly sound of take off your pants and jacket for the Baroque uplift of angels and airwaves, but now it's 2021. And until we can determine whether we are alone in the universe, we have this phenomenon to contemplate. The culture may have finally caught up with Tom DeLonge. I knew it was coming. No, I knew it was coming, he says. It's funny, when I got into this, people were making fun of me. He quit his band to chase aliens. He's lost his mind. Tinfoil hat. F this guy. He's crazy. And then they all started to find out it's true. The vindication arrived via the United States government in 2019 when the Navy and the Department of Defense talked about Tom DeLonge videos. They mentioned my name and stuff. He shakes his head, and the surfer boy voiced that in the 1999's All the Small Things managed to work a San Diego accent into the word nah, says, it's like, it's crazy. Wow, he's so deep. Tom DeLonge, you are deep. So then he goes on and talks about how when we had Blink 182, we wanted to express ourselves. We wanted to break shit. We wanted to show people and say F you and all this other stuff. Once you become an adult, he says, you're not really pissed anymore. For me to be more authentic as an artist, I go, what do I really care about? And I want to make the world a better place. It's cool to be a good person. It's cool to have empathy. It's cool to have compassion and care about everyone. So that's the foundation of what Angels and Airwaves is. An art project that's composed of transmedia elements to discuss themes that can push us through that boundary. And he does talk about a lot of this stuff in the music. So if you're not a fan of Blink 182, you might be a fan of Angels and Airwaves. Look, I'm a heavy metal guy. I'm a Metallica, AC/DC, Rush, you know, all that stuff. Zeppelin, come on. You need cooling, right? Baby, I'm not fooling. Then he says, but isn't that changing the world? I don't have an ego like that, says DeLonge. I don't think I'm special, but after Blink got big, I learned that anything can happen. I was like, we're not very good. Well, Travis was good. This is not going to happen. But it did. And when I was like, Jesus, anything could happen, then once I had a taste of anything could happen, I was like, frig it, I'm going for it. So he saw that the band really wasn't that good. So I'm really right when you come to that. Except for Travis, but he's like, they made it. So he got this huge, and I don't know if it's an ego boost, but I think it is, but I don't know. But he felt he was invincible. Going for it, he said. In this context, means introducing parapsychologist and physicist Harold Puthoff to senior CIA agent Jim Semivan and teaming with them to start To the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences, a company staffed largely by former government and intelligence officials. Yeah, we know. The entertainment division of To the Stars creates science fiction stories for millennials that inspire and transcend stories about dreams, consciousness, paranormal, UFO, and many other things that once used to be taboo, but after newly declassified government documents are now proving to be absolutely real. Did you hear that? Did you hear? I didn't notice this. The entertainment division of To the Stars creates science fiction stories for millennials. Interesting. He goes on. In certain locations, you have UFO events, cattle mutilations, ghosts, orbs, missing people, Bigfoot, like all that stuff that no one thinks is real, all happening in one location in multiple spots. In one location in multiple spots? Does he mean like the world? Like all over the world? It's all happening on the world at all different places? He says, I have questions, and nearly all of them are about the quality of sleep those kids are getting. Huh? Did I miss something? Oh, I'm getting messages left and right. What's going on? Mike Johnson with a $7 super chat. I'd be there to help in any way, Rich. Not sure where I would even fit other than research with you. We can talk anytime. Mike, I know. I appreciate that. That's bitchin'. That's right. I'm back in 1985. It's bitchin', dude. Thank you for the $7 super chat. Mucho gusto, Generoso Mike Johnson, a continuing supporter of Goofon. I appreciate it wholeheartedly. There you go. It goes all over the world. That's what Tom wants. UFO sightings like this. I knew it was going to be a slow night tonight. Don't ask me why, but Tuesday has no feel. Shh, shh. I know. Did I miss anybody else? Hello? Hello? Did anybody just hear that? I don't know if that was an echo. Hello? Ma? No. Hold on, I want to check. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. I got some messages. Andy Gambino. Oh, I got you two, right. So it's you two guys so far. And then I recognize this tone from anywhere. Yep, somebody sent something on PayPal. That is Hungry Dragon says, hello, out of time and place and space. Absolutely. Grazie, Hungry Dragon. Grazie. A continuing supporter of Goofon. Mucho gusto. Generoso. Hungry Dragon. So get one of these. And a gush. Everybody count along with that. And start Spanish 1. Uno. Go ahead, I'm going to drink some. I know. And you know, I did this last night. It's not funny. Sorry, I won't do that again. Too much dead air. I didn't like it. Well, anyway, Tom DeLonge, pretty much, you know, I could keep reading on and on, but there's so much to talk about tonight. But I didn't hate the story. He says, we're not alone and the government knows it. Life Forms doesn't, a song Life Forms doesn't address the issues we're talking about here. And then he goes over songs and what they mean. The only reason I was reading this because DeLonge compares his work with Angels and Airwaves and his duty to write positive, empathetic lyrics to the story of a Japanese scientist who pointed out words like love, hate, peace, and racism and taped them to petri dishes of water. Remember this? Under the microscope, the ones that had negative words, the water froze as gelatinous mutated blobs. Just like void of any kind of perfection. A mess. Just whatever. The good words like love and peace, when that water froze, it had the most beautiful, symmetrical snowflakes you've ever seen. Like crazy sacred geometry type stuff. The only difference was the intention placed near the water. And here we are, 80% water, powered by consciousness and attention to love and whatever. And that to me is an amazing experiment. And that really wants to put you where? Where does that put you in place and time and space? Do you feel out of place? You know, people who are ill, I think it's DNA, right? You would think maybe people get sick every day. So how do you know you could have the most loving family children, everything could be so perfect, and you can still have bad stuff happen to you. You can still get sick. But I think the message is, the more you are a positive and friendly and loving being, you place yourself somewhere above everybody else, I think. I do. Now, I get shit a lot of times, all the time, for what I do here, and I don't get it. I really don't. If you knew me outside of the show, yeah, maybe I take things a little too personally sometimes, but I am not. I'm a literal person. And when I text people or email them, everything gets misconstrued. And I feel like an ass because I'm like, what are you meaning? Why'd you say it that way? I don't understand. And I'm like, really? Like, what are you doing? And they're like, nothing. What's your problem? And I'm like, but you said it this way. And they're like, well, I didn't mean it that way. And I'm like, I hate texting. Hate it. And I'm not the only one. Everybody feels the same way. Everybody's been in that argument. Everybody's taken something out of context. Everybody couldn't tell that there was supposed to be a smiley face emoji. You could be the nicest person and somebody would take it the wrong way. I know. I've done it. So, as far as here and the show and everything else, maybe that's why I never feel good. No, it's because I don't sleep enough. So I try to be positive. I try to be loving to everybody around me. I really do. But I don't know, man, what that means for each individual person. Why are we even talking about this, really? I don't know what I'm doing. I had this whole thing planned out to talk about, and I totally forgot about it. And now it doesn't make any sense. That's why I'm not making any sense. I'm really not. I can tell. So I can tell. Some of you you're like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I don't understand it. That's okay. I don't either. Anyway, God. Sometimes we can understand from where they came, and sometimes we cannot. And yet, taken together, these enigmas indicate that we are surrounded by evidence that history and perhaps time itself is not as straightforward as we have believed. And apparently, there are these artifacts. We've talked about them before. That Sakara bird. That were created a long time ago. Right? Wasn't it the Inca? Aren't they from Incan folk? No? It's not? I mean, there were UFOs that were never officially documented, yet showing up in medieval paintings. Roman era war machines that were impossible to produce until hundreds of years later. Where did they get this from? sometimes when I meditate, lately more than ever, and I don't know if it had to do with the lack of sleep, but it's been happening a lot. I'll be sitting there and I'll be meditating and doing my deep breathing to get me started, and like a flash of light, something that looks like a light from far away, but when it gets close, it's something. I see shapes, and it goes real fast. It goes boom, and sometimes I jump. Sometimes my eyes will go like this, or I'll do that. It's really amazing. It's as if I'm being shown stuff, and it comes right at me. And then I start thinking, oh shit. I've been meditating for a long time, and I can really start to get into it. Like, I get deep within minutes. And I think it's the more you do this, and if you're doing it for longer than 10 years like me, almost 20, you pretty much can get your breathing and everything in sync and get your vibration wherever it needs to be, however that is for you, and literally go somewhere else. Now, I never talked about this on the show because, I don't know, just wasn't part of the conversation yet. But it is tonight. I'm sure I could have shoehorned it in there somewhere. Crowbarred it in. Is that what it is? Crowbar, shoehorned. It's almost the same thing. It is. Shoehorn's just like a crowbar. It's for your foot. Not the crowbar. The shoehorn. But for a being that's made up of 80% water, this is what I love about being a human. This is why I know shit can happen. You can make stuff manifest. How? I don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. So don't ask. I don't know. But if it works, and I'm telling you, it does, I would hope that you would try it someday. Do it. Look, the only reason you don't do it, because you don't feel comfortable. You think it's stupid. You feel like an idiot. Hey, I still do too. But the reward is way better than not doing it. And once you get that reward, once you see it work, you're hooked. You should be. I should be. But there's something about doing this mind-creating things that it doesn't, for some reason I don't do it consistently. And I met other people, they say the same thing. If it works so good, why aren't we doing it every day? I don't know either. It may be our personality, I don't know. But if you do it every day, man, the rewards are sweeter than anything you can imagine. And even myself, I don't do it every day. Meditate. When I first got into ufology, I meditated every day, religiously, for like the first 2 years. And then it started to wane. I didn't meet any aliens, I didn't talk to anybody, but with my 80% body of water, I think it may be possible to make a connection with something. An alien, perhaps, or people, beings, whatever Anjali wants us to call them. But maybe I don't recognize the message back. Maybe I can't see it. Or maybe it just isn't real. Maybe it is our imagination. Look, I tell you, when I sit down and I meditate, I don't think I'm creating the images that come to me. I'm not sitting there, wanting to fly out. Every time I meditate, I'm going somewhere. It's weird. I don't meditate and sit there and sit down next to a lake and listen to the water in my head. No. I get taken out. That is right. I can't believe this. I always get taken out into what looks like hyperspace from Star Wars. You know, the stars are going by, but not as many stars, just a few here and there. Which doesn't seem realistic anyway, because they wouldn't fly that far apart, that fast. I don't know. I don't go to speed of light or faster or whatever. But that is weird. Every time I do meditate, I am taken out into the stars. Every time. And sometimes I get taken to other times, if that even sounds possible. I know, because I don't believe in it. Time travel. But what if there's a natural way to time travel? Not man-made. So I was thinking about this. That's why we have the out of place in time and space. Because I can take myself and get out of time and out of this place, out of space, out of time and space, whatever, I'm out. And I don't know if there's many of you who feel the same way. Don't know. I know some of you, I've talked to some of you who do the law of attraction, because that's basically what it is. I don't like to give it a label, but I just say talk to the universe. And if it's real and it works, what's the harm in trying? But I'm telling you, I can be, I don't know how, but it looks as though I've been to either Earth thousands of years prior or thousands of years ahead. Because I go back to a place which I think is in Arizona, and there's these mountains that I know, the McDowells. And I've been to this where you can see the whole McDowells from the ground to the top. But in this vision, this meditation, this lucid dream that I've also had of the same thing, which is very weird, I only see the tops of the mountains. And there's a special rock formation on the top of the McDowells that if you look at it from a certain angle, it looks like a castle. And I see the castle. Well, it's rocks, but it looks like a castle from a certain angle. And I remember having a dream, meditating, and taken to this place in the desert that is, it feels like 3,000 years in the future. And I'm taken to the desert, which used to be where I think this mall used to be, Paradise Valley Mall. But it's all underground, and they have an elevator that pops out of the ground like a phone booth. And I step inside of it, and I go into the elevator, and it takes me down to level 4 purple. They're all different colors. But I've been there when I meditated. That bothers me. I've been there when I've had that dream when I was a child of 13 or 14, and I can lucidly see it when I meditate. How is that even possible? And I never told anybody that. I've done it twice. That I've gone back while I was meditating. Back into the dream. Without even trying. What is that about? Wow. I mean, seriously, I don't know what that means. So what I think it means is that I was seriously taken, abducted. Don't know it. Deny it. Because that's what I do. I don't believe I've ever been abducted. But I believe it's possible. Okay? If I go back to my theory where everybody is abducted and tagged and followed, watched, observed, and then earlier in the year, Bill Nelson talks about multiple universes. He brings it up again a couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago, whatever it was. And NASA is, studying science, multiple universes. And if that's possible, then I wonder if there's a way we meditate into another universe. A universe that's happening simultaneously, but, we just don't know it, can't see it. So I would have to just say this. I don't know if we can get there, but is it possible we can get there with our mind, which is out of place in time and space? And if that's the case, I think we would have a lot more people doing it. Look, remote viewing has been proven to work. You saw I did a stupid thing, remote view session for Brian Laundrie. And I would have to say I didn't do too bad. But then again, what are the odds? Check it out. Now, this is why I think there's something going on with me. There's nothing going on. There might be something going on. I don't know. Man, I really don't know. Look, I wouldn't be in this field if I didn't think there was something special going on. There's so many coincidences and things that happened that kept me in this friggin' thing for some reason or another, and I don't know why. But damn it, doesn't make sense. What was I going to say? Hold on. I want to know. I was just going to say something about 20 seconds ago, right? Let's see. What was I saying? No, not there. True, not a very good thing to happen. It is October, and if it's real and it works, what's the harm in trying? I only see the tops of the mountains. That dream when I was a child. Deny it, because that's what I do. I don't believe I've ever been abducted. But I believe it's possible. Okay? And a couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago, whatever it was. And NASA is, studying. I don't think I have been abducted. But I think we all have been. I don't know. I just have a feeling. Look, this whole world we're living in doesn't make sense to me. And you can't, like people who work all day, like real people, like a lot of you who work 10, 12-hour days, you don't have time to think of this stuff, okay? Not everybody on the planet gives a shit. It's a very small portion of the planet that is intensely involved in this study of research. It's a very small number. You may think it's large, but it's not. I'm talking real research here. It's a very small percentage. I don't know, but it's not a lot. People are interested, but how many people are seriously like me and like you and people that are researching this all the time? I look at the other people and I see them looking like schmucks. And tuning in with this chest. I mean, come on, man. So what, right? So what? It works for him, right? Come on, man. this is why I have a major problem with that side. See, you got all the nuts and bolts, but you got to get rid of some of the nuts. Sorry, not sorry. But when I saw that experiment with the water and the molecular structure of what it looked like when it froze, from the anger and the hateful comments and words to the peaceful and loving, soft kindness of warm-hearted individuals, and the geometry, the perfect symmetry that showed up in the molecular structure of that water when it froze, compared to the hateful stuff, speaks volumes. Speaks volumes. There's nothing like that experiment. That is just all telling. That's why people who live in these big cities, a lot of them are stressed out, man. They're around stress constantly. People on their phones, shoulder to shoulder, trying to get a seat on a subway or the bus or get a taxi. And maybe it's always raining, it's cold, it's windy, you didn't bring an umbrella, and you got a suitcase to carry around or briefcase, whatever. You know, and then you got to go to work and deal with the people all day long. And some of them are jerks and some aren't. And then there's gossip and drama. And then your job suffered because you made one little mistake and you got to redo all the paperwork that you typed up earlier in the week. And now your workload just doubled. Now you're stressing out. No wonder why 80% of water would have some sort of negative molecular structure if you were frozen. So don't freeze yourself. That's the bottom of the... That's it. That's the moral of the story. Don't get frozen. See, I knew we would come right back around. Circle back Saki. Right here. That's who I am. Hey, man. Just live life. Life is easy. I know I talked a lot. I never usually do it this much. Reading that Tom DeLonge thing, and I don't know why I read it. I just felt like I had to. I don't know. I'm weird. There was it was in August. Wait a second. Hold on. August 18th, 2011, 10 years ago, there was a super fast military aircraft that hit Mach 20 before it crashed in the ocean. All right? From the United States. It was a super fast unmanned military plane traveling at 20 times the speed of sound, which is what? Speed of sound is 500 miles an hour, so 10,000 miles an hour. It managed to control itself for 3 minutes before crashing into the Pacific Ocean in a recent test, military officials said. The prototype Falcon Hypersonic Technology Vehicle 2, billed as the fastest aircraft ever built, splashed down in the Pacific earlier than planned on August 11th, shortly after launching from California's Vandenberg Air Force Base on its second ever test flight. The HTV-2 experienced some sort of anomaly, prompting the vehicle's autonomous flight safety system to guide it to a controlled splashdown, according to the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, DARPA, which oversaw the flight. Despite the problem, the aircraft reached speeds around Mach 20, about 15,000 miles an hour, and was able to control its flight for several minutes, officials said. The HTV-2 demonstrated stable, aerodynamically controlled Mach 20 hypersonic flight for approximately 3 minutes. We do not yet know the cause of the anomaly for Flight 2. The HTV-2 is part of an advanced weapons program called Conventional Prompt Global Strike, which is working to develop systems to reach an enemy target anywhere in the world within an hour. It launches on a rocket that comes streaking back to Earth at enormous speeds, at times heating up to temperatures of nearly 3,500 degrees Fahrenheit. China just had a rocket go around the world in an hour. DARPA officials said last week that the August 11th test flight collected more than 9 minutes of data during the entire mission. The first test flight of the HTV-2 took place in April 2010. That flight lasted about 9 minutes, also ending when the aircraft detected an anomaly and crashed itself into the ocean. What is the anomaly? Was it a UFO? Or was it an anomaly like plasma shooting out its ass or something like that? You know what I mean? An analysis conducted by an independent engineering review board prompted engineers to adjust the HTV-2 center of gravity and make several other changes before the second test. Those fixes apparently corrected the first problem, officials said. An initial assessment indicates that the Flight 2 anomaly is unrelated to the Flight 1 anomaly. Huh! It's a different anomaly. Another independent review board will look at what went wrong with the second flight test in the coming weeks. Editor's note. This article was corrected to reflect that Mach 20 is closer to 15,000 miles per hour than 13,000 miles per hour. Okay, so it's closer to 13. Wow. Here's a video. I don't know if...
Oh, you're doing it wrong,
Let me
man.
see if
What's
this,
wrong with action figures?
if this is something different or it shows it in flight. I would like to see this thing going 12,000, 13,000 miles per hour.
Capital One shop.
Right? It'd be bitching. Here it is. Oh my God, they do got it. Watch this. Let me get you over there. You guys are sweet tonight. Thank you for hanging out. A little different than the normal show, I know. Wow. So that's what 13,000 miles an hour look like. Man, that's fast. That looks so cool. It kind of looks like the stuff we're seeing in the sky lately, doesn't it? All of these rockets burning up and stuff like space debris. All right, something's definitely up. This is great. Well, I guess there's no more. But pretty cool. Yeah, there were tons of stuff going on. What's that? Who?
There's nothing.
Hey! Nobody play that again. If you play it again, I'm done, man. You're going to get me in trouble. You can only get 6 or 7 seconds. Stop. All right, I got something to show you. Check this out. This comes from the only UFO documentary by a black woman. That's the name of the person's Twitter handle. And it says, this one is for the believers, this video. This always looked like a flying gym shoe. I mean, sneaker. I'm 70, she says. That is until you get near the end and it looks like something is moving or shifting gears. Now, I remember these videos. This is a minute long. I'll bring it here in a second. But I remember these things. What were these called? Anybody remember? Check it out. 3, 2, go. Remember these? What were these objects? See, I always thought this was a misidentification of something. But what is it? Anybody remember? Anybody remember? Hey, anybody remember? Don't forget, you can help GoFund. Keep afloat. Support GoFund with a PayPal, a Cash App, become a patron, or a super chat or a super sticker, because it's always activated. That's how we support the show, huh? That's how we stay alive. Right, Chuck? All right. I don't know what this is. Really. It looks like... I remember, and I can't remember now, I think I debunked this years ago. What were these called? Anybody? Converse on the telephone line? No. I don't know, man. I just don't know. And I don't remember. It's weird. I remember these. Doesn't anybody else remember? Yeah. We'll watch it again. Does anybody remember this? No? Hey guys, down here. Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking. Some people may have never seen this before. There was a ton of these that were going around the internet about 15 years ago. And I keep wanting to call it. I think these are the ships that were near Saturn. Does that sound familiar to anybody? I think that's what it is. The Saturn UFOs. I'm going to look that up real quick. Yeah, it looks like it's morphing. See, that's why I think it's something mundane, and I think I did debunk it way back when. But I think it is the Saturn UFOs of Saturn, I think. Hologram. Oh, wait. You may be right. The hologram UFOs, maybe. Let's see. I don't know. No, I don't know if it's that. I remember these being like the Saturn giant UFOs. That's what I think it is. But hologram is nice. Yeah. It is. It's the Saturn stuff. That's where this came from originally. I just can't play that one because it's a documentary. What did they call those? The Giants of Saturn? Hey, what's up, Solar Marshal? What's up, Cloudy with a Chance of UFOs? Den Bub? Crazy A, what's up? How is everybody doing? Bob Gray. Bob, you're definitely in the right room. But you're at the wrong show. Or is it the other way around? What's up, guys? Yeah, I just played this. I want to show you guys. Does anybody remember these UFOs back in the day? Oh my God, I have something Lou Elizondo to talk about again. Check this out. Do you guys remember these? What are these? In 3, 2, go. Does anybody remember these? Who found it? Well, it was, this is a Twitter person. No, I don't know. It's somebody on Twitter. I'll get the name in a second. It is the only UFO documentary by a black woman posted this, but this goes... Yeah, you see, she said, this always looked like a flying gym shoe. I mean, sneaker. That is until you get near the end and it looks like something is moving or shifting gears. So she knows it's an older one. But look at... I just can't remember. Maybe it is a microscope image. It's something that was debunked. Let's just say that. I'll come back to that tomorrow. It is. It's a harbinger. What are they? I mean, for real. I mean, come on. Come on. What are they? Secrets in the field. Secrets in the... Hey, Greg Brown, everybody. Hey, Black Lotus Productions. Continuing supporter of Goofon. Why are they? You know you're a nice person. I see what you did there. I really liked the show, he says, tonight. Loved what you were saying about meditation and the water experiment. I know. And that's a $5 super chat. Continuing supporter of Goof on Black Lotus Productions. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. And of course, a little love. How about this? Trifecta. Or duo-fecta. I don't know.
What are they?
What are they?
Why are they?
Why are they? What do they
mean?
I don't freaking know.
What do they mean? Are they harbingers of world change? These secrets in the field.
All right. I don't want to go too far. Okay, there's something that now this is where and thank you Black Lotus Productions for that. You know, if you missed the first half of the show, I talked pretty much the whole time about how our body is made up of water, 80%. And there was a water experiment that was done where they put labels on these 4 glasses of water. Love, hate, jealousy, peace, whatever. 2 were positive, 2 were negative. When people read the labels, all day long the experiment was going on, 4 or 5 hours. They froze the water, and the ones with the negative words, there was no symmetry in the molecular structure of the frozen molecules. But the peace and love, the good ones that were positive, were very symmetrical when they froze that water. The molecular structure was beautiful. The weird thing is this. Can words actually hurt you? Before we get into the next topic, you know, I already played this one before. Yeah, I remember this UFO sighting.
When the unexpected happens,
it's playing
you
an
could
ad.
dip into savings. Or you could choose
yeah, I just played this
USAA.
one a few
Members
weeks
who
ago,
switch saved
but
an
this
average
is
of
unbelievable. This
$725
one.
per year.
This
If you know,
is the
you know.
UFO
If you
sighting
don't,
that
you do.
got me really hooked back in the day. 3, 2. Oh, it's hard copy. I don't know if I could play it. I can only play a few seconds of it. Can I? I don't know. Let me get to the good part of this. Yeah, this was the best. This was the best of the best. Watch. 3. I'll play 15, 20 seconds. Go.
Unknown. And that would be a very big story.
Hard copy had one of the Air Force tapes digitally enhanced. The result? There are no wings or rotor blades visible on this craft. But is it a visitor from outer space? Or could it be a classified military project? A high-tech flying object hatched from Area 51?
Back in the day, man. That's 92? 90? 95. 95. Well, that's when it was on 2011. 2011. Whoa, hey, yo, whoa, whoa. 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 Wow, I can't believe this. Unidentified S4. You know what that means? You woke up one of the chickens with a $49.99. That's 50 bones. For the show, are you kidding me? Come on. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you very much, man. I can't believe you just did that. All right, you earned this one. That's how I feel. Come on. No, I'm joking. Thank you very much. We'll do a duo. Oh, look at all that. These are all greedy, aren't they? Man alive. That's not nice at all. All right, that's better. I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. Mucho gusto, generoso.
Are they harbingers of world change?
Change. Thank you very much, man. Unidentified S4 with a $50 super chat. That is truly amazing. Thanks, man. Mucho gusto, generoso. Continuing supporter of Goofon, by the way, in case you didn't know. Thanks, man. That's just friggin' beautiful. Because I do want to get to that. When is it? It's going to be near the middle towards the 20th, maybe, of November. Still need a little bit. I mean, you think, well, you get super chats every night. And I'm like, yeah, but you have to understand. This trip, if I go, I have to... let me just tell you, it's just as expensive to go as if I went to California, unfortunately. Because this time I'd have to rent a car for 2 days and get a hotel for 2 days. Last time I didn't need a car or a hotel. So I don't know if I'm going to go, but I am going to go somewhere in November. I want to go to the Capitol. We'll see how the rest of the month plays out. We'll see up until May 10th or November 10th. Why I said May, I have no idea. It's a Biden effect. I just got nailed. All right. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. Most likely I'll go. But I hate talking about it. That's all. I just feel weird. Have you ever heard of the Togo Beach UFO incident? Paralysis, blinding lights, and further suggestions of underwater bases? Anyone? 1974. A lot of good stuff happened in 74. And here we go again on a place that I am not going to subscribe to. I'm not paying to read your freaking story. So now that's got to go to the wayside. Here's UFO Jane. All right, I thought this might have been an interesting tweet. She says, yeah, early on, I always questioned if I should report on the topic because UFOs weren't real officially. I had lots of anxiety and remained anonymous for years. Not anymore, though. The goal of this channel is to help bring light, truth, humor, positivity to the... No, UFO Jane, take out the humor. People won't get it. So I'm confused by this. Yes, early on I've always questioned if I should report on the topic because UFOs weren't real. So why can't you report on it? That doesn't make any sense. You're just reporting sightings reports. She had anxiety and remained anonymous? I think you're taking it to another level of, you don't need to go there. My goodness. Who would have anxiety? Seriously. How can you have anxiety about talking about UFOs? So you do it anyway? Because the government said that it's legit? Come on, UFO Jane. That's pretty silly. I think you're just saying that. Nobody in the history of ufology had anxiety attacks about talking about UFOs. Well, they weren't officially real yet. I've been doing it for 17 years. It's never real. Well, I think I figured that out. So you had anxiety for nothing. Yeah, I think I did. I think you did. All right, I did. I faked it all. I didn't have anxiety, all right? I'm just pissed because I couldn't talk about it because my friends would laugh at me. Well, why don't you just say that? See, I had a conversation with her. She didn't even know it. Don't fake while you're in this field. Don't fake while you're talking about UFOs now and you couldn't before. People will tune into that. They'll figure out you're lying. That just doesn't make sense. I had anxiety because I couldn't talk about UFOs. Why? Because they were deemed fake. Religion's been doing it for 1,000,000 years. No proof, but you gotta have faith, faith, faith. John Russell today says this, and I love this tweet. I really do. I love this one. Why is it always, tomorrow I'm releasing really big news? And of course, there's never any big news. And why is it always 2 months? In 2 months from now? And of course, nothing ever happens. And I'll tell you why. And I said something down here. I said because they're trying to get mainstream media or the largest platforms to show their stuff. It's all about me, 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 and money, money, money. If anyone is a true researcher with real evidence, they would show it, like I've done. Corbell is a me, me, me guy. Fake AF. I hope that he understands that. That was 2 hours right before the show. That's Corbell. Guys, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Don't you miss him? Don't you miss those videos? What? I really do. I think I'm jonesing for a little bit of Corbell. Can we watch one of his videos? No? Come on. Let's watch one of Corbell's good videos. Let's see. Let's just go. Come on. Let's get our fix of Jeremy Corbell videos. Can we do that, please?
Yes. Well, so we all believe, most people believe in extraterrestrials.
Right.
Most people. So what are they afraid of?
We're living in a different world now. Since December of 2017 with Commander David Fravor, the Tic Tac UFO case, which I broke before the New York Times. I reported on that twice. That case...
Me, me, me. I.
Opened the door, so we now know the government did not stop studying UFOs in 1969. There's a program called ATIP. That program is now acknowledged. So what are they afraid of? I think they're afraid of weaponization. I think that...
They're afraid of weaponization. Ah, this feels good. Don't you feel better already? Don't you feel it? Don't you feel it? The Corbelski? Ah, man. Doesn't get any better than this. Bob Lazar, Area 51 and flying saucers. The worst. What? Oh, that's right! I always wanted to show this. Who is this guy? Oh, Robot Head did such a good job on this. He says, I have the evidence they lied. I really do. Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers is easily one of the worst documentaries ever produced. Investigative filmmaker Jeremy Corbell, and he puts that in quotes, has teamed up with George Knapp to lie about us. To lie to us about what they have recently discovered. If you watched Joe Rogan's interview, let me show you what Jeremy Corbell lied about.
Area 51 and Flying Saucers is a documentary by Jeremy Corbell. It's supposedly the definitive telling of Bob Lazar's fascinating story. Sadly for Bob, Jeremy makes terrible films. He also has a strange relationship with the truth. Let's take a look. And unlike Jeremy Corbell, I will actually provide proof. Imagine that, as to why Jeremy's claims of new evidence are bullshit.
For me, it was 1989 and Bob Lazar telling his story. That's what weaponized my curiosity.
My imagination has been weaponized. I want your imagination to be weaponized.
Weaponize your curiosity. That's my goal, to weaponize your curiosity. My curiosity was weaponized, not weaponization of my curiosity, and I really hope to weaponize people's curiosity.
Oh my God, I can't stand it. If this ever happens to me, and I'm pointing right at everybody. I don't care, male, female, he, she, they, we, you, whatever, LGBTQ+. Take me out. If I ever get to this. That's all I'm saying. Just take me out somewhere and let me wander. Let the animals get me. If I ever turn into this.
curiosity in the weaponized my curiosity. My curiosity was weaponized. I want to weaponize your curiosity.
Such a tool.
I have a weaponized curiosity.
Hey.
Like weaponized my curiosity. Weaponize that.
First, a bit about Bob Lazar. Bob is a physicist who in 1989 came out with a story about working near Area 51, re-engineering supposed alien spacecraft the military had discovered years earlier. Crazy, right? He also tried to set up a brothel with his girlfriend. Still crazy. His first wife turned up dead in a house that he would later live with his second wife. Crazy? He was also married to both women at the same time. Yes, Bob Lazar's story is fucking crazy. True or false, this is an interesting guy with an interesting story. Now, I have no reason to doubt that he worked at Area 51 or S4, which is the area he says this all happened. I also believe he's a very smart dude that saw something weird. But sadly, Bob Lazar, Area 51 and flying saucers will not only add nothing.
Look at his feet. His feet are in a documentary. Get that out of there, will ya? Come on, Rich. Come on. Get it out. No. There. His feet are in the documentary for 20 minutes. It looks like he just went clam digging. I think I'm going to film today myself after I go clam digging at 6 a.m. 4 a.m. Unbelievable. His big Barney Rubble feet.
New to the story, it will actually damage it by either leaving out important information or straight out lying. Yes, the main problem here is Jeremy Corbell. Now don't worry if you don't know Jeremy, you're going to see a lot of him in this doco. And when I say a lot, we will see him more than we see Bob Lazar. This phone reenactment is 20 minutes alone of the film. That's no exaggeration. It really is. Oh man, check out those poses. Even though some documentary filmmakers include themselves in their films, there is usually a reason needing to confront individuals, or simply they are part of the story. But the really great documentaries let the story come straight from the subject, and it can pay off to listen.
Kill them all. Of course.
Not Jeremy. Jeremy wants to be the star. It's time to suit his story, but not the man and investigating the story. But once you've set up your little light with the pink gel and you've pulled off those poses, make sure you've changed the date on your fake messages. Not only is the incoming message time different to the phones, it's a completely different date. He changed the phone time to suit his story, but not the messages. I mean, it's only the start of your film, Jeremy, and supposedly an important detail, but fuck it.
The other agenda was to uplift the visual medium of filmmaking in this genre, which I did.
That's a big
Wow. I'm sorry I had to let you see some of that. He used to sleep on... Whose couch was it? Jim Goodall's? Some guy named Jim. I think it was Goodall. He used to sleep on his couch when he was homeless, right? But he's picked himself up. Jeremy Corbell doesn't really have to work a real job ever. He's got the life, man. You got to respect. That's the only thing I respect about Jeremy Corbell is that, he's independent. And his movies make money because they think he's good. Hey, he's got good topics. Patient 17 could have been a really good movie. It was all right, but Skinwalker. That was just awful. I didn't like it that much. Or am I confusing it? No, Skinwalker, I didn't think Skinwalker was that bad. I just don't like I don't like his technique for filming. I think he wastes a lot of time and things kind of just get boring. Hey, let's switch the topic for a second. Elizondo clears the air about OSAP and ATIP. Did you hear about that? Yeah. When did this come out? This is a personal commentary from George Knapp today. Oh, wow. All right. Well, this is interesting. Okay, I see now. Since the release of the book, Skinwalkers at the Pentagon 2 weeks ago, Several attempts have been made to muddy the waters about the differences between OSAP program managed by Dr. Jim Lakatsky at the DIA and the ATIP program managed by Lou Elizondo at the Pentagon. The people trying to confuse matters are the usual suspects on social media, those who pretend to be interested in the UFO phenomena and related phenomena, but who have proven time and time again their primary interest is in creating doubt, disinformation, discouraging serious inquiry into these topics, and presumably in honing their skills as stand-up comedians. Lou Elizondo has been targeted by these same folks since December 2017, when he helped convince the New York Times to run a story about the Pentagon's secret interest in UFOs. Surprisingly, the online warriors have often, is it aped? Apt? A-P-E-D? I never used that word. The misleading, have often aped the misleading statements made by the Pentagon's spokespersons who have ridiculously denied that ATIP or OSAP had anything to do with UFOs, and also denied that Elizondo was ever assigned to work on ATIP or had anything to do with the UFO investigation there. It is hard to understand why seemingly intelligent UFO investigators, people who are familiar with the 70-year record of the military in lying about the UFO topic, would choose to accept false statements from the DoD or any UFO-related statement from DoD for that matter, but that is what's happened. The attempts to confuse the public and slander Elizondo most likely stem from perceived turf wars in the UFO field. Everyone says they want the truth, so long as it's their truth. Oh my God, that is so true. That is 100% true. Now, the distinction between OSAP and ATIP, nothing new. It has been part of the public record for 3 years now. It's been reported on television, on radio, and in multiple public presentations. Dr. Lakatsky is now on record as saying the two programs were related but were not the same thing. Dr. Colm Kelleher, who was a program director for the DIA study by Bigelow Aerospace, has also helped draw the distinction between the two programs. He co-authored the book along with Lakatsky and yours truly. Robert Bigelow, whose company won the DIA contract, has also explained the differences in an on-camera interview recorded by us 10 months ago. Yeah, we know, we remember. But there is another voice who has explained how the two programs operated and intersected. Lou Elizondo laid it all out in an interview they conducted in June of 2018. Elizondo gave us his first long-form on-camera interview in January 2018, a few weeks after the New York Times story broke. In that interview, he never mentioned OSAP because at the time it was not publicly known. By June of 2018, the secret was out. KLAS, which is Mystery Wire with George Knapp, had aired multiple news stories about it and revealed documents, including the contract signed by DIA and Bigelow. So, in that second interview, Elizondo addressed questions we posed about the two efforts. This interview has been posted on our website since June of 2018. Those supposedly pro-UFO twitfologists who now find themselves somehow confused have no one to blame but themselves for being too lazy to review information and materials that have been widely available for more than 3 years. Here are pertinent excerpts from the 2018 interview with Elizondo. Right after this message from Robot. Well, we're going to hear what Elizondo had to say, I guess. It's coming up right after this message from Amazon and Robot.
Talk about this 2009 unclassified letter. in which you got to read between the lines a little bit, but it is pregnant with possibilities. I mean, the implications of what you see in those is that this is real. That assessment runs very contrary to the statements that the Pentagon has made, or Pentagon spokespeople have, since you came forward. You know, since,
yeah. I mean,
since
I think there's a
ATIP.
lot of pockets within the Department of Defense that may not necessarily know exactly what, you know, another pocket is doing. Right, the right hand doesn't always know what the left hand's doing. They try. I don't think it's deliberate or on purpose. I don't think it's a misinformation campaign. I think. If there was a question as to what the government knows or doesn't know, you'd probably have to bring that up to the government to answer. I certainly don't want to guess why the government said what they did. I can only imagine for two reasons. A, national security, and if it's not national security, they just didn't know.
Yeah, ATIP is, the program was killed.
Right.
And it was killed because it didn't find anything.
Right.
This letter we're talking about says they did find stuff.
Well, and I've made that very clear before, without necessarily referring to the.
Look at how Lou changed his body when that question was asked. Don't you think that's amazing? You never see Lou do this. He has changed a lot.
The memo that ATIP did find a lot of stuff. And this wasn't just a one-off looking at the Nimitz incident. There were many, many incidents we looked at, and we looked at them on a continuing basis. And we saw some congruencies throughout these incidents time and time and time again, some repeated patterns of behavior. And as an intelligence officer, when you see those repeated patterns of behavior, that is key that something's going on, that there is something there of predictability that you can use then later on to figure out how these things work. And
okay, my question is, oh shit, I didn't have the comments up. Sorry, I don't know if I missed anything, but I'll take a look. The thing is, who cares? You know what I mean? Who cares? Do you care anymore? Should we care what Lou says? Of course, everybody's going to look at Lou. Everybody's going to keep looking at this guy for answers. And he says, I don't know if this is a misinformation campaign. Well, what else would it be? I'd like to thank Richard Meekma. Thank you very much, man. $10 PayPal. Appreciate that. Mr. M. Richard. Appreciate that, man. This is for you. And we'll give you one of these. Get one of those. And then we'll mix it with this. There we go. Grazie. Grazie. A first-time contributor to Goof On. Thank you very much. That I remember. I don't remember Richard Meekma, but man, thank you. Mucho gusto, generoso, dude. But we want UFO interest to increase. Sky Allen, 100% right. We're in a place right now that's in limbo, okay? Now, if you think about this special announcement that's going to be happening soon, before Thanksgiving, anywhere between now and then, I think it has to do with the hypersonic technology. And I think the tic-tac and everything that has been going on here with Lou is part of a disinfo campaign. Everything you heard about had to make it look like it could be things they don't understand, because it's always been ours. It has. This hypersonic thing in 2011, was it? 2013? No, 2011. We were going 13,000 miles an hour for several minutes, 9 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it was. Don't you think 10 years later, just after China went around the world with a hypersonic missile in an hour, I think that we cannot let them beat us. So Doesn't it make sense? That would be the technology that would put us 20 years into the future. That's what would happen. New York to California in 20 minutes. 30 minutes, whatever. Instead of 500 miles an hour, we're going to go 5,000 miles an hour for a few minutes. We'll get you there. Can you imagine? I got to tell you, if this is the announcement that's coming out, everything we heard Lou talk about had to do with the hypersonic technology. It was a misinfo, disinfo, whatever you want to call it. That's what it really is. In my opinion. Nobody really knows. Nobody really knows. Nobody knows. I just think after talking, the Cousins brothers really thought about that idea. It was them who came up with it. But I believe it. I believe that's true. And when they said that, I was like, wow. That makes sense. By the way, November 9th, the Real Men in Black movie will be coming out with Richard Doty, Richard Dolan, cast of characters. And it's pretty freaking good. I've seen it. Yep, we'll be dropping trailers for that in a week and a half or so. Maybe a couple of days or the day of the release of the documentary. I think it'll be on Amazon. It's a 1091 production, so you know you're going to get a good movie. 1091 has really stepped up their game. But that movie will be out. It's a Cousins Brothers Productions. Can't be all bad. I think Darcy Weir? No. Well, I don't know. Did he work? I think he worked on it too. So, we'll see. But Lou, man, I got to tell you. He said there's a lot of pockets within the Department of Defense that may not necessarily know exactly what, another pocket is doing, right? The right hand doesn't always know what the left hand is doing. They try. I don't think it's deliberate or on purpose. I don't think it's a misinformation campaign, he said. But I think if there was a question as to what the government knows or doesn't know, you'd probably have to bring that up to the government to answer. I certainly don't want to guess why the government said what they did. I can only imagine for two reasons. A, national security, and if it's not national security, they just didn't know. Knapp. ATIP, the program was killed. Elizondo, right. And it was killed because it didn't find anything, right. We already went over this. George Knapp says, it feels like something's going on. And I know there's some sensitives involved, but is that feeling correct? Lou says, well, you have to excuse my response on this, but George, in the end, I've always said it doesn't matter what my feelings are, right? I may feel something, but I also may be wrong. So I sense that the conversation is occurring now among the American people and amongst some of our senior levels of government. That has never happened before, and I'm very optimistic about that. How about feel about it is probably irrelevant, but I will tell you, if you're asking, I feel good about it. I feel that finally people can have a rational conversation, and people much smarter than me can figure out what the hell these things are. No. Knapp says, well, the reason you left ATIP is because it wasn't getting the attention it deserved. ATIP? Oh, I said that. And then Lou says, absolutely, absolutely. Knapp, same argument that this essentially makes. Elizondo says, I actually left out of loyalty, not disloyalty, because of I love the department and the leadership so much, particularly Secretary of Defense James Mattis, that there was no other way for me to communicate that these things that we were seeing and experiencing were real, and that they were being collected by not just grandma in the backyard shooting a camera and seeing some lights back there. This is by trained observers flying multi-million-dollar weapon platform systems, sometimes over U.S. cities that we trust to flight and win wars on our behalf. And they're telling you they're seeing something. They've seen something that they don't know what it is, and we have to pay attention. What is backed up by electro-optical data, which is backed up by the radar data, which is backed up by, more and more and more layers. Yeah, why don't we get to see all that? Where's our layers? Do we ever get to see any of that? No. Why? Because it's UAPs. So, well, that's government stuff. Why? Because it's top secret. So make it less top secret. It's just lights, isn't it? We don't know. What do you mean? We don't have the technology to study it. Bullshit. At some point, he says, you have to look and say, there's an old saying we have, if you see it once, it's an anomaly. If you see it twice, it could be a coincidence. If you see it 3 times, you're probably looking at a trend, right? And so that's what we're seeing. And when you're building this mosaic, you're building this, for lack of a better term, this jigsaw puzzle, which is something I've always said every single year I've been on this. Have a microphone in front of me. He says, people will say, well, how do you even know where to begin? Well, you begin with the first piece, right? You take a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, and I'm not very smart, so I'm not very good at building these things. So what I usually do is take the 4 corners first, and I set those pieces aside. Because you can tell that they're the 4 corners. Then I take all the pieces, have the straight edge, because I know they're going to be the border. And I set those aside, right? So that's it in another little bin. And then what I do is take all the pieces that are kind of the similar colors, and I take those and probably figure they're probably a part of the same scene, and I'll set those aside. And before long, my daughter and I went from having a 1,000-piece jumbled mess to now we have 5 or 6 bins that we can see. Okay, these are common pieces that are going to help us now put together the picture. And so very much, and it's a very poor analogy, but very much to that same methodology we did within ATIP. We try to find those commonalities and bin those in what we now know as the 5 observables, and have come out as the 5 observables, and that has helped us really focus in on collecting the data pieces that are very important, or the pieces of data that we don't have yet. Knapp, can you describe there is confusion about ATIP, OSAP, BAS? Lou Elizondo, sure. Different acronyms, Knapp says. How that all, you describe your network of guys and how that interacted with the others. So George, Elizondo says, understand that when it first came out, I was only in charge of ATIP at the time, so it really wasn't up to me to have a big lengthy discussion about OSAP before that. Advanced Weapons Special Applications Program, but in the end, I knew that information would eventually come out. Enough people were asking the right questions that it would come out. It needs to come out. But it can't come from me. Right, Knapp says, and I say right too. But we already know what Lekatsky said, is that OSAP had the government funding. OSAP, and ATIP didn't, OSAP dealt with the public, UFOs and UAPs. ATIP did not. They strictly stayed within the UAP narrative, government. Whatever. And there's one other one, but I can't remember. But OSAP and ATIP were different, but the same. They studied UFOs. One was funded. One dealt with the public, and the other one didn't. Hey, rocks in space. Yeah, it's almost that time. Good evening, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Sorry so late, but was making a PNW stir fry. That's fine, Rocks, man. That's awesome. Thank you very much for helping out with GoofOn support. Mucho gusto. Generoso. We'll give you this one because I haven't used it. Thank you, Rocks in Space, for $5. A continuing supporter of GoofOn. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a good night. So Lou says, that started before I came on board, the ASAP ATIP thing. And therefore, my knowledge of it is a bit limited, so he says. So in essence, in 2007, the initial program was called ASAP program. And it was that name for about 9 months. And that program was later refined. It was a bit of a shotgun approach to the phenomena. So it included a lot of stuff in this program on trying to figure out how these things fly and where they're coming out of and where they're going and things like that. When I came into the program, the name had just been changed to ATIP. Not advanced aviation, advanced aerospace. I know people keep saying it's advanced aviation. It's not. And eventually, that'll come out too. And people will realize that's not the name. It's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. And so when I came in, that name ATIP had already been issued. And that's what was being referred to as. Now, whether it was not a nickname or a formal name, it was a formal name for us. It was briefed as ATIP. But if people want to, argue about semantics and they want to say it was a nickname, that's fine. But it wasn't really a nickname, at least not for me and for the guys and gals that were working with me. So it was ATIP, and that's how we briefed it. But anyways, that focus was really on the more of the nuts and bolts, looking at what it is and how it does work, right? And as I've said before many times, that was our focus, and that was ATIP's focus. So we went from a broad kind of spotlight approach to more of a narrowly focused laser approach, trying to figure out pieces of this because it was just too much of the elephant to eat in one bite, frankly, in my opinion anyways. Could be wrong, but looking at now, hindsight being 2020, the ASAP program, given the resources, 22 million, would never be enough to really follow down each and every rabbit hole to do this, conclusively in my opinion. Anyways, so it was refocused to ATIP. I took over in 2010. The program continued to go as ATIP. 2012, that initial 5-year funding dried up. So we were issued more funding in 2013, 2014. Unfortunately, the verbiage and the way it was written in the bill, that when it finally came out, another office in the Pentagon took our money that was intended for our office, unfortunately. And I won't go into detail what office that was, but the office took it. And we were unable, because nobody was read into the program, to step up and say, hey, that money was intended for us. So the program was indeed intended to be funded well beyond 2012. What? Somebody took their funding? Well, if he was ahead of ATIP and somebody took the funding that was supposed to extend them to 2013, 2014, why didn't he say anything? And George Knapp, the next thing he says is interaction between you and your group and the ASAP, Bigelow, Bass folks, conversations back and forth. You got a general idea what they're doing? Elizondo replies in the affirmative. Of course, yeah, we didn't do anything without talking to each other. What about Skinwalker Ranch? Did you get reports on that, or can you say? I would prefer to defer that question if that's okay. So they don't even get into what Lou just said. Somebody stole our funding This is unbelievable bullshit. That's horrible. I'm not reading the rest of this. You guys want to read the rest of this? I'll put the link in the description. I don't normally do that, but I'll put it in the description because it's not a YouTube thing. This is crazy. What a horrible piece of reporting.
Both as bass and as nids
Here.
are confounding in the sense that they never repeat and the same thing doesn't happen again. It almost seems to be like the approach would be to study it as an intelligence issue than a scientific issue, or as an intelligence.
Well, I think there's always an intelligence aspect to any big question, right?
That's not
You
it.
have to ask questions. You know, let's take the nature of Skinwalker out of the equation and just look at it from an intelligence problem. You have to ask yourself, A, is this something that is naturally occurring? Is this something that is being deliberately done? Is this something that another nation could be behind, trying to influence us? Or is this something that is occurring that is just a natural part of being a human being on this planet, right? And a bunch of other possibilities as well. So we're looking at things through the optic of trying to determine exactly what are these things that are being detected, that are being observed, that are being reported, and is it something that is naturally occurring or not? And when I say naturally occurring, doesn't necessarily mean naturally occurring as part of a weather pattern. This is an awfully big universe we live in, and we now realize through theories such as string theory and M theory that the universe in which we
what
live in
happened?
may be part of a much bigger neighborhood of
That was
universes,
weird.
part of a multiverse which resides within one great big superverse. And this is not just mere speculation. There is scientific evidence right now that even some very serious scientists are looking at. Give you a case in point.
He says absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. He really doesn't say anything, really. And George Knapp is just throwing softballs out there. I don't know. So what? I already read all this earlier. Okay. We've got Lakatsky's view. We know about the emails. And then Luke comes out and is telling us what the difference between OSAP and ATIP was when everybody knew. See? Why does... That was an interview back in 2018. But it was posted on October 25th and updated October 26th. Today. So George Knapp is saying, since the release of the book, Skinwalkers at the Pentagon 2 weeks ago, there were attempts that have been made to muddy the waters about the differences between OSAP and ATIP, managed by Lou Elizondo at the Pentagon. Then he says the people trying to confuse matters are the usual suspects on social media. Those who pretend to be interested in the UFO, UAP, and related phenomena, but who have proven time and again their primary interest is in creating doubt, discouraging serious inquiry into these topics, and, presumably, in honing their skills as stand-up comedians. That's me. I'm a stand-up comedian. Well, that's what I did. Does he mean me? No. I don't muddy the waters. I just read what other people... I do what UFO Jesus does. Come on, that's not fair. George is talking about me. Honing their skills as stand-up comedians, while Lou is honing his skills. Oh my God, he's taking what I said about Lou and turning it on me. We're famous. I can't believe George Knapp's talking about us. Lou Elizondo has been targeted by these same folks since December 2017, when he helped convince the New York Times to run a story about the Pentagon's secret interest in UFOs. Surprisingly, the online warriors have often aped at the misleading statements made by the Pentagon spokespersons, who have ridiculously denied that ATIP or OSEP had anything to do with UFOs. That's not me. And also denied that Elizondo was ever assigned to work on ATIP or had anything to do with the UFO investigation. That was John Greenwald. Not me. Or was it? He's talking about both of us. That's what it is. We're honing our skills. True. No. There. How'd that get? There we go. Thank you, moderators and super chatters. I appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. I need your help. Thank you very much for giving it to me. Without this help and support, time and energy, the show doesn't run smoothly. So I thank you. And also I want to thank the newcomers, the veterans alike. I mean, you give the show 15 minutes. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. Come back another night, maybe it'll be different. It's never the same. It is, but it isn't. But if you liked it, come back, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and comment. We need 200 thumbs up and 50 comments to be anywhere respectable in this YouTube community. Hey, we're almost at 6,300. Let's keep going. Subscribers. Let's keep it small. No need to subscribe. If you want to support after the show, all the links are in the description. To PayPal, Cash App, become a patron, and also the About button on the homepage of Goof On. We'll be back tomorrow, maybe, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, right here on YouTube. I'm Rich Giordano for Goof On, where Truthology for Ufology takes place. Good night, everybody.
What you're complaining about. All you have to do is go to sleep.